I'll try to, if anyone wants to interact with us out there. 如果有外面的人要跟我们互动，可以的。
好 ，OK，
哇
，Luke，
哇哦，外面那边有3位同学吗？
工作人员。
哇哦，所以也是他们的一个学习的机会，是不是？
我想最主要是 to make us feel like a star.
Yeah, I do feel like a star. That makes me feel pretty special. Okay, so we're going till 1:30. 1点半吗？
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the plan.
Good. You never want to, overburden the audience.
No.
Hey, we have a couple, people who know us. Yes. Hey, if you want to listen to our podcast, we still don't have a name for it. Yes.
Oh, okay. I decided to put our first episode onto my old dead zombie site. So entitled Something from Nothing.
Okay, I like that. That's better than 3 views. Yes. Alvin, also known as the department head, did a very classy. Didn't
feel free not to mention
something
that.
From nothing. Yes. Did a classic. It's like 3 views is not a bad name, but it's not a good name. He just did a Right?
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, allow me to correct myself. Okay, the channel title is Something About Nothing.
Something About Nothing. Okay.
Which gives us the entitlement to talk about anything we like.
Okay, this is very nice. And are we the first English podcast on... Wow.
Yeah.
Very special. Yes. But sometimes we can add in some Chinese. Yes.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Okay.
I'm always curious. It's Dan, in Chinese. But
yes, it's Dan.
Where does that come from? Is that like a...
It's the southern spelling, and it was very popular in the Netherlands. So during my absence, one of my classmates, a bunch of my classmates, they helped me with the registration. So they because they decided on the southern spelling, which was like the only choice there at that time. So instead of Xu, they spell Ko, because according to the southern pronunciation, you pronounce Xu like Ko, so it's Ko, and you pronounce Chen like Dan, so it's DAHN.
Are you talking about Nanming? Just Nan?
华南.
华南的.
Yeah.
华南是一个方言吗?
No, Huanan is the southern region of China, and in this case, specifying somewhere near Taiwan or around Taiwan. 所以台语就是丹.
Oh, there you go. I knew it. Okay, it made sense because there's 2 different types of Mingnan Yu, right? There's like the Bei and Nan, right?
No, strictly speaking, 6 kinds. Okay. Both from He Luo, and therefore they are known as the He Luo 6 accents.
Oh boy! Okay.
But it's there are more than accents. There are actually 6 different kinds of variations.
Now we know. That will be on the test next week. Yes.
Yeah.
I thought there was only 2. Yes. Well, hey, how are you? Doing okay? Okay. You're welcome to join the show next time. We have. Do we have any invitations?
Yes. Okay, we're
Always
open
welcome.
for.
欢迎欢迎，你要加入的话一定可以的。下礼拜记得。
Did you have them both in your class?
I don't know.
No, it's just you being popular.
No, I think it's you because of the glasses. Yes. Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah. There's no way anybody could think that this is attractive right now when you have a mustache like this and a cowboy hat. My wife's opinion of me right now is not very high. But tomorrow it will change.
The Texas air is in the air.
And then it can only get worse if I add in a bad cowboy accent.
But since you pops up somewhere around the barbecue season, this is correct.
Yes. Okay. Well.
So going back to our main track, we decided to talk about our own fields of studies.
Yes. Okay.
And you were from the field of education.
I was, yes.
So how big is the difference that you witness between education and language or interpretation?
Well, I'll just start with the story is when I was a high schooler, I was a very basic kid. I just wanted to play sports and I had no big goals. And one time in high school, I said, why do people not just all speak English? And I had Spanish class for 2 years only because I wanted to be on a sports team in college.
How good is your Spanish now?
It's really bad, really bad.
Hit me, hit us with some good sentences.
Muy problema. That's about it. And I've learned it for about 4 or 5 years, but
at least you still find it handy, especially when you are ordering something to eat.
Maybe. The nice thing about Spanish, if any Taiwanese want to learn Spanish, I think it's a nice language because the pronunciation is very consistent. So there's hard issues with the verbs, but in terms of a language, like English pronunciation is all over the place, and it's very inconsistent because English likes to steal from other languages. But if you can get the Spanish pronunciation down, you can learn the pronunciation within half a year, no problem.
But when you speak English, you don't have to worry about cases and genders.
In Spanish?
No, in English.
Oh, in English, yeah. And also, too, I think that's a problem with Spanish because now the whole gender...
How many genders do you have in the Spanish language?
I think just 2, but there's probably...
You think just 2? You majored it in once. Okay, you major in it,
I had
my friend.
3 or 4 years, yeah. Oh, my God. Hey, those exchange students are in my class. They're always welcome to come next time, yes? There's Orion, and there's Lars, and there's Alice, yeah. They're great people. Always welcome to come in. Yes.
Do you also have Lou in your class?
I do not. I do not have Lou in my class.
I have her in my class. Oh. Sometimes I even have her in my neighborhood.
They sit in the front row, so they win first place in our hearts.
Yeah,
yes.
Okay. Jump in anytime you want.
Yes. This is not closed off. It's not a prison. It's also not keeping anyone out.
Yeah.
The glass is just to keep out the wind. Yes, because this stuff is expensive.
Yeah, it might seem very inviting to people. Like, okay, hey, look at those 2 monkeys in the glass menagerie.
Yes, doing non-monkey things.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh.
Okay.
But so what happened was I did education because I felt that was what I was best at, and I wanted to go into special education. And
oh, really? Okay.
And
you've been a loving person.
I guess so. When I was a kid, when I came out of my mother, the umbilical cord was wrapped around my neck 4 times. And I was all like purple. And they told my mom, this kid might end up having developmental problems.
Yeah.
And I think I turned out relatively normal. I mean, I don't run too fast. Yeah. And I'm not as smart as my brother and my sisters, but I was, the nice thing about Chinese is it's the perfect language for people who are bad at language. Because
how so? Because
if you choose to learn Chinese, you're just not making a good life choice. Because the road never ends with Chinese, right? And the nice thing about me is I was so ignorant. I thought I could learn Chinese in half a year. I had no idea. I didn't know about tones. I didn't know that there was a difference between traditional and simplified Chinese.
Yeah, and classical Chinese, and the mixture of 2. Okay, yeah.
I mean, if I could go back, and I would just not do it. And also, too, it's like you don't get rewarded financially for learning Chinese in Taiwan.
But you do know that when the language is old enough, it sort of encompasses all kinds of vagueness. And a lot of flexibility. So that's one good thing about speaking Mandarin.
So the vagueness and flexibility.
Yeah, okay. You don't even have to finish your sentence. You don't have to make you don't even have to make annoying noises like, okay, when you speak in French. You don't even have to go, je veux de, okay, no. You just, and that'll be the end of it.
Wow, very interesting.
You leave the puzzles in the air for your audience to guess at.
I think we have the same background with our masters, as we both went to Shida, National Taiwan Normal University.
We both went to Shida.
The GITI program. Graduation Institute.
Institute Interpretation and Translation and whatnot.
Is it what? 国立台湾师范大学的
翻译研究所.
Wow. Your tones and pronunciation are so much better than mine. But one theory is that I remember hearing is that Chinese, you expect the reader and the listener to make sense of it.
Yes.
Right? So it's like, I speak, if you don't understand, that's your fault. But in English, it's like, you don't understand, it's my fault.
Yes. because I have to be articulate enough. I have to be responsible for my audience. But speaking of which, okay, even for native speakers of the language, I'm talking about Mandarin Chinese, even reading is a basic daily problem because you don't have words. You have combination of words and phrases that you have to break it up yourself. You never know where it ends. You can only rely on your common sense.
That's funny because
you ever found that a problem?
I just found it a problem today. And so students, they were doing English and Chinese at the 全媒体大楼. And I wanted them to experience, okay, most of them are native Chinese speakers. We had one student from Hong Kong. And I'm going to encourage her next time to do Cantonese. And it's funny because it was 中和.
Yeah.
And then the next word in the script was 和. And so they're like 中和和.
Oh, right.
And so it's hard to know when to pause.
Yeah.
And there's actually this one website called Mandarin Spot, and it breaks up the Chinese words. So if 中和 would be together, and then it would have 空格, they'd have a space, and then 和. And that actually would help them, because it's, as a reader, it's very difficult to know, okay, is this 成语 or is this two words? And yeah, because there's no spaces.
Take for example the sign at your back. Okay,
oh boy.
Over there you have 军训室 and 生活辅导组. But if I'm learning the language for the first time as a foreigner, okay, how the hell would I know that it's a 生活辅导 and it's a unit, it's a 组?
Yeah.
It could have been, okay, 生活辅 and okay, of course it doesn't make sense that way to a native speaker, but it takes time. But chances are when we're reading an author we're not familiar with, okay, we'll be thrown back to the same situation over and over again. Yeah.
And then it's hard because you guys like to shorten everything in acronyms. Was like a 国防部, you know? And I mean, 国防部 has to be much longer. What is like 国家?
Yeah.
And then 防 is what?
But still, I have to say that Taiwan may not be the worst case. I think this is even more popular over in China. So younger generation has a lot to pick up from year to year.
The burden on these poor folks out there. All the things they need to learn.
Okay, back to the mutton. Back to your shift from education to language studies.
Yeah, so I was planning on becoming a teacher, and I was ready. I had applied at I went to the state college that was near my home. So I was living at home, saving up lots of money, which then I would all spend in Taiwan. Trying to learn Chinese. Yeah, so I'm still thinking my investment in Chinese is actually in the red in English. Yeah, I still haven't profited on it, but I'm getting close. But,
okay, to feed my curiosity, how much did you spend on the wedding?
On the wedding?
Yeah,
about 1 million, I think. Yeah.
1 million kuai.
Yeah, I think so.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that was a lot. Yeah, it was a little bit cheaper than the car we bought. The car we bought.
What's wrong with saving something for the house or for your kids' education in the future?
You know, it's kind of a mini tragedy. So my wife, I think, wanted to have a nice wedding because that would get my family to come out. My family has not been very good about coming to Taiwan. They only came one time, and that was for my wedding. And so, yeah, I mean, I think a lot of women have a dream to have a nice wedding too.
What kind of wedding would cost you 1 million?
Yeah, I mean that's actually kind of cheap. I think 2 million is pretty common in Taiwan. Yeah.
Okay.
It's an expensive endeavor. Yeah.
Okay.
And this is why people invite their bosses.
Okay, back to the mutton. Okay, your shift from education to language studies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I was actually in the Department of Education at my alma mater, and I came to Shising, and I was only supposed to be here for 4.5 months.
All right, and that decision changed your life forever.
That was a life change. Yeah, who knows? Maybe if I would have stayed in Michigan, I'd have a boat by now, and I have like 5 kids. Yeah, I would be like a super white guy. Yeah, and now I'm here still. Yeah, so it's supposed to be only 4.5 months, and now it's 15 years. And basically, I felt when I came to Taiwan that I really, really liked learning Chinese at first. I was very fascinated. And
what was the first reason?
Well, everyone would always say.
How did you ever find it attractive in the first place?
Well, at first, like you just don't. I had no idea about the language. I had no idea about the foundation of it. So I didn't understand how long of a road it was going to be.
But it sounded good to you.
Yeah, and to me, my dad especially. My dad was an international businessman when I was really young, and so he always taught me that you should really respect other people's cultures. And
you
so
had a great dad.
Well, he's a very smart guy, you know, but super monolingual. And doesn't know how to use chopsticks, but he's coming along. But anyways, and I just felt that if I'm in Taiwan, I should be speaking Mandarin Chinese.
Sure.
Yeah, but Taiwanese, they don't really care. They actually like to practice their English. Yeah.
True.
Yeah. And their English is pretty good, you know.
But when you go down south, okay, you'll be finding Mandarin is nothing. Okay, you need to be able to speak both Mandarin and Taiwanese.
Yeah. Well, I've been in the north for a long time. Yeah. It's funny. I think it's like my family said they couldn't survive without me in Taiwan. Like I had to be their translator all the times, but I go and get talked to in English all the time. Do we have friends out there? Hey, friends. That's Jackie. Jackie, you're going to
Jackie in your class?
You're going to the Czech Republic, yes? Yeah, he's going to Czech Republic next semester. Yes,
congrats.
I think that he was one of the interviewees. Yes.
Yeah.
He was in my sophomore English class, taught media. Yeah, he paid attention.
One of your top students.
Top student for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Could work a little bit on the punctuality, but everything else is perfect. Yes, but. Yeah.
If you're good enough, you're entitled to be late.
Yeah.
So fine.
People wait for you. Yeah. Is it Czechia? Is that the term now? It's the Czech Republic, yeah. But is it Czechia? Is that how they say it?
I don't really know.
Czechia is now Czechia. Yeah, I think they did a little bit of a name.
It's no longer Czechoslovakia.
Slovakia. I think that was the old term, and then they Czech Republic.
I don't know them.
Yeah. Oh boy. Latvia. Oh, he's Latvia. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
They switched the camera to him.
Oh yes. Okay. Hey Jackie, sorry about getting your country wrong. Yeah, but that's like a real American, you know. There's Africa is one country. Yeah. So to answer your question, I was doing special education. I had 61 credits, and I came to Shising, and then I was really inspired because I wanted to stay here. When I first came to Taiwan, it was like the honeymoon period, and everything about it was perfect. You know, you had like breakfast danbing, and I was working here at the English corner, so I had money because you know it was free in the dorms, and it was kind of everything was new. And some of the things I really liked when I was young are annoying now.
So how did you cope when you start seeing the ugly sides?
I don't know. You just learned to. I did a lot of complaining. I used to complain on Facebook a lot, but then I don't use it anymore, which is good because no one wants to hear you complaining on Facebook. And
I think it's okay. It only makes you more Taiwanese.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. But it's not a good way to live. I'm trying to be more and more positive because if you think positively.
In my eyes, you're positive enough.
Thanks.
Okay, you always complain about teeny tiny little things behind people's back. Okay, instead of yelling at them. For me, that's healthy.
Okay.
You know how to take off some steams. Okay, without offending people.
Yeah.
That's what I need to learn from you.
Well, thanks. I do. You got to be careful because sometimes people can take it the wrong way. But you want to appreciate people.
See, this is you being Taiwanese again.
Yeah.
I don't mind. I don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that makes you feel good.
So not only education, okay, but specializing in special education, and then suddenly after you visited Taiwan, okay, here comes the shift from education into Chinese into language learning.
Yeah. And I think that's because I decided that with education, maybe I was doing it too much for other people. And I was worried that I wouldn't be interested enough in always teaching, you know, because like with Chinese, it's output maybe, or.
But still, you're bridging something over to the other bank. Okay, you're still doing it for people, but I see the difference is that to be able to do that, you have to enrich your language command, or your culture knowledge bank.
Which takes a long time. That's a big investment. I mean, to get your language up to the level, it's really hard because Taiwanese have such a a head start. And a lot of people in Taiwan, they're learning English since they're 3, 4, right? And so I started learning Chinese when I was 21.
Part of our compulsory education. Yeah.
I mean, so it's tough to compete with Taiwanese, and
it's a small island. As Taiwanese people, we have to pick up a lot of different languages from the neighboring countries.
And us Americans, I tell you,
monolingual.
We're the monolingual nation, yeah. But we like the hey, how are you, right? 慢慢来，要去上课吗？不要迟到。还有1分钟。Okay. Oh, these.
Luke, focus.
Okay, sorry. ADHD. Maybe that's what when I was born, that's what happened. But anyways, so I kept on saying like I want to stay in Taiwan, and then I kept on hearing the same thing of, oh, well, you can go teach at a cram school, and I was like, but I want to use Chinese to make money.
Good.
Yeah, and I mean there were some people that inspired me along the way, but very few foreigners I met had really amazing Chinese. But I was studying at Shida. They have a 国语中心. So they have a Mandarin Learning Center. And I saw this white guy named Chris Findler, and he was speaking Chinese like a native speaker. And he's been here for 30 plus years by now. I think he's getting close to 40. And I was like, man, I want to be that guy.
How many years did you spend there?
In that,
Shida.
Total 2 years, yeah. And then 4 years doing the 师大翻译研究所. So I did 4 years in the masters, and yeah. So I put a lot of time in this
and never stopped learning since.
The reading has gone down a lot because I drive more, and
don't worry about that. Nobody really writes, nobody really reads.
Yeah, but the reading is really important, and the language is slipping a little bit. The nice thing is I have a kid now, and so I have to learn like the Jewing books and some of the basic stuff. Sometimes Huang Lao would talk about that. Is as an adult learning Chinese, there's actually certain things that you miss that you would get if you would learn the children's Chinese. And so,
but by being a father, you get a second opportunity to pick up the language all over again with your kids.
You do. I mean, it's funny. Like you try to prepare for Chinese. So I actually read a whole book about pregnant women in Chinese, the whole process, right? And so when Sophie was going to deliver and stuff like that, I needed to know, Po Fu Chan is, a C-section. Right?
Yeah, the C-section.
And then all the different terms. I've forgotten a lot about zigong and things like that. So I knew all the terms.
Did you find it point blank crystal clear? Okay, like you have cleaved session for a C-section.
Yes.
Right?
I didn't think about that stuff.
Okay.
But it's helpful now.
Very.
But I don't think we're going to have a second one because having kids in Taiwan is exhausting. Yeah. But and so I decided that I needed to get my Chinese up, and then I was going to go do 师大翻译研究所, and that was always the plan. And then I went back to SVSU, switched into English literature because I found online that a lot of the great translators had an education in their own languages literature. So if you're an English speaker, you'd go and
so when did you go? When did you enter the program? Okay, was that the first year or second year? Okay, how long have you been in Taiwan before you entered the program?
So I first came to Taiwan, I think in 2009. So 2009, and then I stayed for a year and 4 months.
And back to Michigan,
and then so that when I went back to Michigan, it was about 1 year, and then I came back, and then I was doing a lot of Mandarin training center stuff. Yeah, so it might have actually been a little over 2 years, because when I came back to Taiwan, I think I prepared it was about another 2 years of being here and working at cram schools. Doing some private teaching, and then just trying to get the Chinese level up to the...
Did you find the program challenging? The program over at Shida?
I kind of... I made the thesis harder than it needed to be, to tell you the truth. Yeah.
What was it on?
It was on imagery and translation. Yeah, and so people...
Visual and literal.
Yeah. So I thought it was pretty interesting, but I don't think anyone else did. But, it's funny, like when little kids are learning a language, it's mostly visual, it's mostly images.
Yeah, and for them, because most of the time they're using illustration books, so for them, the visual is very important. And also, I believe that the visual helps a lot. While you're learning, while you're picking up a new language.
For sure. And that's something that we probably neglect a lot. And it's like when we learn languages as adults, it's very text to text.
Very.
And then it's also really interesting. For example, let's say you look at temple architecture, yeah. And there's certain parts of the building that there's no translation for, and you don't even know what you're looking at.
True.
Or what you're reading, right? So you try to look that up on Google and find out, what is this text talking about? And so that was something I was interested in was about how we use imagery to understand. And we don't really talk about it, and we don't really teach it. But
I find your thesis very viable.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, you should tell us more about it in parts.
Well, I was actually thinking about trying to. There's been a couple different websites that have, I think they're called like image dictionaries, or there's dictionaries that will have images to show you.
Maybe from now on, for the first season, we should go back to your thesis, and then you take some of the parts out and share them with us.
Maybe I'll actually have to read it again, but I read it a lot.
And both of us will get inspired by that and improve our teaching based on that.
Well, you got to get the students to stop looking at their phones first.
True. But you, as a Stoic, I only focus on what I can control.
Yeah. And there's less and less things you can control, right? Fewer and fewer things.
Fewer and fewer things.
Yeah,
true.
So, that's what I did. But to tell you the truth, the program probably wasn't that challenging. What I really liked about it was it taught me that I had a lot of holes in Chinese. And for example, I think with politics, if I was just to brush up on it enough, 我met 名师 sometimes.
Oh, true.
And so I'm usually familiar with that stuff. But if you put me into like a biology world in Chinese, like 生物学, right? Whoa.
Right, but that won't be your fault, because it's even impossible for a native speaker or for any native speaker on the street to be articulate, in terms of that. Yeah. So don't worry about it. I think it's one of those bad influence from 师大翻译研究所. They always ask us to be something like a Renaissance man. I wonder if you still have that kind of course or courses, because when I was there for the first year, we actually have to sign up for a very freaking courses, where you, which you go to, and then, you pick up a lot of, these, 101 courses knowledge from physics, chemistry, accounting, all sorts of things.
Yeah, and you were in the translation track, right?
Yeah.
So with NTNU, the GITI program, the 翻译研究所, they have the translation track and the interpretation track. And the interpretation track, no offense, but it's harder. And I think the training is
when
better.
I was there, first we didn't have a choice. You have to take both.
Oh, very good. Yeah.
And until you are well into the second or the third year, you get to pick.
Yeah. Well, if anyone is listening, be grateful that you're born now, or that you were born 20 years ago or whatever, because you were one of the first, and your generation.
The first year ever.
I think that there was at least one of your classmates that committed suicide. Like, I think that there was like major mental health breakdowns, and because the program was structured way too hard. In the United States, getting a master's has never been like some type of challenging thing. So we have what they're called capstones. And usually it's like a 20-page paper. But, for a master's in Taiwan, they make you write 100 pages, or it's just, they really put you through the grinder. And so to get a master's in Taiwan, especially in the past, in your generation, it was really tough. A lot of people would give up.
I think my thesis ran for 220 pages.
Wow. A little longer than mine, which is, mine was way too long. It was twice as long as it needed to be.
It's okay. Look how we suffered, and here we are, still suffering.
We made our choices.
Yeah,
we're living in whatever we created. And but anyways, they've really made the program a lot easier since you left or since you graduated? You graduated, yeah?
I was the first.
Which is impressive because I think so many people don't end up finishing the program.
They took in 12 people for the first year. I was among the 12. And then for some reason, the other, 5 of us dropped and 7 stayed. One of us was so ill and died in the hospital.
Yeah, I think I know.
And then 6 of us stay. And then, for some other reason, somehow I don't know how, I turned out to be the first to graduate.
Wow, that's big news. I need to.
Yeah, that was what happened in the first year. And then sometime after me, I wonder it's 1 year or 2 years, the second one graduated.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then it's funny because you got another master's degree, right? You must.
Oh, right.
You're a total masochist. Misspent
youth. I collected degrees.
That's amazing that you're the first one to finish because is it Liao Bosen?
Yeah,
he was the 所长, and it's funny.
He dropped.
Yeah, which is funny. The 所长 of the 反研究所 actually dropped out of the program. That shows you how insane it was back in the past.
Yeah.
So they made it, the program, I think, better by making it easier.
He was my classmate. And then I remember that, that was only sometime after he got married or sometime after he had his first baby.
Okay.
And then there was one time because he was always sitting right next to me. And then we opened the textbook. I think that was the theory of communication or something along those sorts. He opened the textbook. Guess what's in there? Serving. I think he didn't do that on purpose, but guess what's in his book? Almost looking like a piece of bookmark. It's a sunny side up. Part of his breakfast, his son threw that into his book. My eyes were wide open. So that's how uptight our lives were.
Yeah. I think that they made the program better by taking away because, I mean, if you want to make your program, I think your year, it was like 60 credits to graduate. So
something like that.
From what I know, they cut it in half. So now when I went through, it was 30 credits. So, I mean, to me, that's a PhD program right there. Why just give everyone a PhD if you're going to go through hell like that?
And when they ask for audio homework assignments, no breaks whatsoever was allowed.
Wow.
You have to make sure you go all the way through from the very first second till the end. No breaks, no pauses whatsoever.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
But anyhow, we both went through hell.
Yeah, mine was less hellish for sure. Half is hell.
Okay.
Yeah.
But here we are.
It was 小 hell, 小 la. You had 大 la.
So what kind of influence or impact you received
from the program?
From the program.
I mean, so the worst thing about the program for me was, by the way, 所长 Liao Bosen, his wife is really fantastic, yeah, and he's a very nice man too. And I don't know if he's still there or not. I don't really know too much what's going on.
I think he retired.
Oh, really? Good for him. That's funny. But you're still going. Yeah, I don't even know what he ended up finishing. I think he went to the United States to Texas or something like that. But
I don't really know. But he was there once for further studies.
But yeah, so with the program, it's definitely made for Taiwanese students. It's not.
Really?
It's not made for foreign students like me. For international students,
but they've been taking in foreign students,
which is good
for quite some time.
It's really good for the Taiwanese students because the Taiwanese students have fantastic English, but it's not a native speaker level, and so they have holes or pronunciation issues, or they're just maybe they know the Taiwanese dictionary version of how to say something.
Oh, okay.
So like 孝顺, they would go filial piety, right? But 孝顺, really you should think about, okay, a native
I
speaker.
think it's just love or
like a good daughter, a good son, dutiful son, dutiful daughter.
Right.
So that's the nice thing about having those native speakers. And then if they're going through an interpretation track, you can really help with making sure you have more polished English.
Do you keep in mind some of the words that don't translate?
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Give us some. Hit us with some.
There's a really good podcast with, I think his name is Bo En. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then...
the stand-up comedian?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And he did an episode with Tony. His name is Tony. And Tony, I think, was graduated from Shida, and he was in the interpretation track. And he came to, was it Ohio, when he was like 16 years old? Or he went to Ohio when he was 16, and he came back for like to go to NTU. So I think he was pretty much in Ohio for 3 or 4 years. So his English level is really high, and he's a very smart person. And he gave like really easy things that you wouldn't think about. Okay,
really?
So I'll give you some of the examples. Okay, one is 辛苦, like 辛苦你啊.
Oh, right. It doesn't translate.
And then also too, there's a lot of things like, I think someone from a higher level can use it. So if I'm the boss, I can say it, right? And that's sometimes that's a mistake I make. Like I'll go and I'll talk to people and I'll go, so for example, you're the 主任 and I'm a 讲师. So I shouldn't say.
This is the second time you mention it. Please stop.
So I shouldn't say 辛苦你 or something like that. It's like almost demeaning. Because it's the person who has more social power.
Some terms comes with the hierarchical connotation that you are not supposed to use it, okay, in the wrong context.
So that's a tough one for them to.
Yeah. But according to Japanese speaking or Korean speaking people, okay, it's comparatively easier here if you speak Mandarin, because in their languages, in their cases, it can get even more complicated.
That is, the honorifics and things like that. It's also funny that you mentioned that, because I talk to people, because there's a lot of people in Taiwan who want to learn Japanese.
Sure.
And my friend from Shizhi, I actually met him in this room when it was the English corner and not the round table. But he went there, and they organized their language learning, Japanese language learning, into whether your language comes from, a language with Chinese in it. So I think like Japanese for sure would be put in a different group than your Westerners, because like if you're a Taiwanese person and you go to Japan to learn Japanese,
yes,
you have so many characters that you already know, right? So if you're a Westerner, you don't know anything.
No,
they're gonna put you in different groups, but that can actually be bad, because maybe Asians are a little bit shyer in the classroom.
True.
And if you want speaking and things like that, you probably want Westerners. But so we're like in Taiwan, I've seen them split up the language learners into 2 different groups, and one is like your Huaqiao.
Yep.
So the people who have that ethnic Chinese background, and maybe Chinese was part of the home, but they have lots of holes. Maybe they speak
well, you're
well,
at least culturally acquainted.
They can speak it, but they don't really read the characters. Hey, how are you? Wow. 之前他都是我的邻居啊，对啊。
Oh, really?
对，很棒的社会系
社新系
这个吗？是那个系说吗？对啊，社新系吗？对啊，拜拜，慢走啊。Okay, yeah, her English is also really good. Yeah, so there's a.
People around on campus. I think one of these days you can run for 里长.
Yeah, I'd be a bad one. I'll try. I'd make someone mad. Yeah. I'm not like Trump, so no one try to assassinate me, but
no, don't worry. You don't have to worry about that.
But so at NTNU, they definitely, by the time I went through the program, they had split it into the translation and interpretation tracks. And the interpretation track is very rough. And I think they actually have qualification tests in the first year. And if you don't pass it, you can't move on. And it's very difficult to the point where it's almost impossible as a non-native speaker to get into the program. But there's been a couple that have been able to get into it, and they're always really smart people. Yeah.
Okay.
And you'll find out more about that on the podcast when I'm bringing in, Iago, because he went through the interpretation track at NTU.
Oh, right. I remember you told me once.
And that's part of my theory that interpreters.
Oh, so when are we inviting him? This semester?
Is it November 15th? I think.
Yeah, sometime in November.
Yeah. And he's a drag.
I'm looking forward.
He's brilliant. Yeah. Very smart. And now he's at Mingshi as
your colleagues over at Mingshi.
Yeah. I haven't been there. I haven't worked there for a while. Yeah, but that's okay. I come and go. Yeah. But so the interpretation track is very difficult at NTNU, and the translation track is more laid back. I mean, the workload wasn't that much. There's some reading you needed to do, but my reading was so poor back then. I would always read too slowly.
In my time, I really didn't see the difference. Okay, it's like both tracks are slave driving. So probably things got different.
Yeah,
later on.
The translation track definitely backed off a lot, and I was kind of amazed. There just wasn't much with.
And did you have to pick 2 majors?
Yeah, nothing like that. No.
Really?
No
We had 4 fields. Technology, monetary, literary, and legal. They make you pick 2 at least.
Yeah.
So like for me, the main attraction is always literature. But then they force me. I also have to pick the legal. So the legal translation was also there.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Why didn't you keep on doing legal translation? I hear that's how you make all the money.
Oh yeah, big money.
Wow.
Big money.
Yeah.
Like really big, because it's almost always you only deal if you make your moves right, you only deal with the government, and everything was like previously chartered. They follow certain rules. So for them every case, every time was almost counted by case. So it was case by case, like a 1 or 2-1 a case. No matter how many pages or how few pages you need to go through.
Yeah, I mean, everyone always talks about it. You get excited because I heard that for Chinese into English with legal translation, it would be 5 NT per Chinese character. I mean, so if you could translate just 1,000 Chinese characters, it's 5,000.
During the time of President Lee, because we had a newer version, a serious amendment of the Constitution. So we have to retranslate the Chinese version into the English version. And I'm talking about sometime around 20 years ago. 1 character, 200 kuai.
Really?
Yeah.
That's insane. My gosh. Yeah. But I think things like this, you hear about it and you go, oh my God. You know, I would have had 2 Benzes by now. Or Benzes. I don't know how to say that.
Right.
But
I have to say, after all, I did that during my internship, so it's pretty much for the insiders. You never get out of the 新闻局. At that time, 新闻局, but now I don't know where it went.
Yeah, so people talk about all this money, about, oh, you do this field and it's great, but I just feel it's inconsistent as a field. Like you try to survive. Taiwanese can survive as a freelancer. I don't know any foreigners who can do it. I wanted to do it as a freelancer, but I'm too slow and the brain doesn't work very well. I'm just not made to be a translator.
I never wanted to. I want my life stable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe that's better, right?
And that's the reason why I always have my eyes on literature. I was there for 4 years, and then through the entire 4 years, I saw myself as an intern. Yeah, I was there to whet my skills.
And then that's, so to talk about you were the first one to finish, which is really funny because we would talk about it when I was a student at NTNU about the first year students, or the year one. And the tragedies.
And I was a slacker. I still am.
Maybe that's the key in life.
True. Taking it slow.
Yeah.
Taking it slow.
Taking it slow, but getting there getting there the fastest. Yeah.
For me, the most important thing in my life is literature. And I see literature as my religion. So I wonder, because they say that every field of study affects the learner and affects the learner in their ways of looking at the world. Do you see yourself? Do you have a similar experience? Like you start to look at the world in a different way after the program, after you were really into interpretation and translation?
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is when I did literature at SVSU, so I studied English literature in my own country. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
And it really taught me how to think. I was a real basic person in the past. I was a BB, a basic.
And then after that, plus one more skill, because you started to be able to travel between two languages.
Yeah, that was very interesting, right? And it's funny because like if you're a monolingual, with my family, they just don't get it. And so I'm trying to talk to them about something, about how maybe certain people see certain things. And because of my language background, I can comprehend it. And so I might say something like, in Chinese culture, 4, right? It sounds like
it's a death number.
And to me, this seems so simple, right? But my family's like, oh. And then remember that one time we went and we got food and we couldn't use chopsticks? Oh. I'm like, but they just enjoy the
And
places.
this is an impression of your father.
Well, so like it's really funny because they all came out to my wedding and that was a very special experience for them. But like,
did they have a lot of problem coping with the food?
No, they had Sophie did a lot for helping, and I helped too. But we planned out everything for them. I mean, they were not left to themselves. They did not have the survival version that I had, that experience. But that kind of stuff. They were tourists, right? So they saw the scenery, and it was different, and it was unique for them because a lot of them had never been in a place where they're a minority. I mean, growing up where I'm at and being there for so long, we're all white, and so we're just kind of used to being the white people, right? And then all of a sudden you're like, people are like, what the heck? That's a white person over there, right? And so that was kind of interesting for them. But yeah, just at the deeper level, they don't really think about these things, right? So that's interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, but it definitely affects you a lot. And then, it's really fascinating. For example, why does something like there's this one movie that everybody loved in Taiwan when I first came here. It was called, was it White Chicks? Yeah. Okay. But how about this?
I'm glad I didn't know anything about that.
Yeah. I mean, and it's like not even that beloved in the United States. But when I first came to Taiwan, everyone told me there's this funny movie called White Chicks, and it's 2 black actors pretending to be white women. And they think it's just so funny, but it's very basic physical humor. Right, so the Taiwanese love physical humor. Like they love it when.
I don't think I would like it.
Yeah, I don't think you would like it either. And but they just thought it was the funniest thing. Or they love Fast and Furious here.
I think you have to be not woke enough to like it.
Yeah, I mean that was a different era back then.
Yeah,
I mean that was 15-something years ago when they made
True.
it. So, that kind of stuff you need to understand why Taiwanese would like something and the Americans would not, and vice versa.
True.
Yeah,
But sometimes you have to count some of us out.
Yeah, and that's a good thing. Because if I counted you all in, I'd worry about y'all. But yeah.
Why? Okay, what is the allow me to get a bit sidetracked. Okay, what is the connection between cowboy hat and Michigan? I've never found the link.
Well, we do have cowboys.
So when you suggest you like to show up with a cowboy hat, is it part of the Michigan tradition?
See, Sophie, my wife, she would disagree. She would say, "You're definitely not a cowboy." But I had horses. The last time we were there, the horses were there. The horses are gone now; they were sold, and there was goats, and the goats all had babies with their brothers and sisters. So.
Do Michigan people also hold rodeos?
They do.
Really?
Yeah. So I had like high school classmates that have done rodeo stuff and things like that. But definitely the further out south and west you go, you get
do Michigan people also do monster trucks?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I've been to 2 monster truck shows. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Really, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And you should really check it out indoors, but maybe bring some.
I always thought they're exclusively available in Texas.
Oh, there's probably more, probably every week in Texas, but twice a year in Michigan. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, Michigan is, it's got some big cities, especially Detroit, but it's why it's a swing state. There's a lot of farmers. Yeah. There's people riding horses down the street. Yeah.
So by moving from Michigan to Taipei, now to Taoyuan.
What a choice.
How do you cope with the space?
Well, I'm
The
still
dwindling space.
I'm still coping with Taoyuan. You know, it's been over a year, and I really.
What is the major difference that you feel between Taoyuan and Taipei?
Now, if I could tell you, I like Taoyuan more.
Okay.
If I could
Now go ahead. If it's something positive, go ahead.
If I could never come to Taipei, I'd be great with it. My problem is I hate the commute because you can try to swing it different ways. I try to listen to podcasts. I try to do audiobooks and things like that. But I really miss spending time on the Taipei MRT reading books. And that's why I would read a lot of Chinese. And that was my time. So everyone's on the MRT scrolling on their phones. And that was my time for just personal reading.
Please give a list of a couple of things you like about Taoyuan.
Okay, so Taoyuan.
In comparison to Taipei.
So people, what did I hear? Taipei is the butt. Taoyuan is the butt of Taiwan. So someone said it was boring. It's a boring place. But what I love about Taoyuan is when you go to Taoyuan, especially Yiwen Tochu, which is where I'm at now, there's a lot of kids there. And so Taipei is not made to have families. Taipei is, I don't know what Taipei is meant for.
And they also say that Taoyuan is the best place in Taiwan for Vietnamese food.
Mm-hmm. I would not know about that, but there's a mixture of food. It's nice having a kid now. My kid is over 2 years old now. And so there's parks everywhere and it feels safer because there's more space. When you want to go somewhere, there's always parking lots. Yeah. In Taipei, wherever you want to go, it's like, oh my God, where am I going to put this car? And
do they also have humidity problems or a lot less?
It's better. So I have asthma, yeah? And I noticed that my
You
lungs,
always mention, I always forgot.
Yeah, that's okay. I'll keep on mentioning if you want. But there's Ian. Hey, Ian. He's our student, yeah. Great. Yeah. Hey, Ian. Okay. Ian Hong. But, yeah, so my lungs have struggled in Taipei.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And when I was on the basketball team here, I was really having a hard time with fitness. And I should have just went to a regular, because in the United States, if you want an inhaler, you need to get a prescription for it.
Sure.
But in Taiwan, you can just go into a pharmacy and get an inhaler. But no one knew.
Oh, really?
And I was really struggling for a long time my lungs just were not breathing properly. Yeah. And just the humidity in Taipei, and especially I used to live in the home in the back on the mountain.
Yeah.
And bread, would go bad in 3 days. And where I'm at in Michigan, you can put bread around for 2 weeks. And man, I was really struggling with breathing. And when I went to Taoyuan, I stopped using the inhaler. And yeah, my lungs have
That's
gotten better.
really
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, so the air quality is better there. The typhoons are really weak.
More parks.
More parks, yeah.
Fantastic exotic food that you haven't tried.
Well, with a kid, the exotic food is kind of,
Oh, true. Okay, too heavy.
It's
Too heavy on their stomachs.
I mean, he could try it. The thing is, like, he's getting less and less picky, but just going to a restaurant is it's going to add your stress because he's going to be all over the place playing with things. And
True.
I mean, it's the gift and the curse. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so maybe in the future we'll try some of the Vietnamese food. I appreciate the suggestion. Yeah. There's the Hakka aspect of Taoyuan, but I haven't really experienced that. Yeah. But I really like the vibe there. It feels very calm. It's not so busy. There's fewer cars in the road.
I'm always very curious about the cultural diversity in there. Because, a lot of food channels, and we're not just talking about YouTube, we're talking about proper, legit TV shows. They never stop introducing Taoyuan.
Yeah.
And they're going to Taoyuan for different reasons, as if they can never run out of the resources and the cultural diversity in there. Yeah.
Maybe Taoyuan is paying money for all this attention.
I don't think so, because, as far as I know, Taipei is still the richest city.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we're way past 1:30, the time we planned to end.
We're going to wrap it up.
To wrap it up, in 3 sentences.
Yes.
Yeah, and to help us to keep this thing going, and then we can pick it up anytime we want next week. So,
3 sentences.
3 sentences.
Well, I do think that we need to talk a little bit about Leiden next week. Yeah.
Okay.
So, well, for 1 sentence is, how were your experiences of being, can you say Dutchman?
No, I didn't really drink that much.
When you went Dutch, how was it? Right. How was going Dutch in...
No, we didn't actually do that. Yeah.
But I
just taking turns buying each other food and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll have to hear a little bit about that. And then I also do want to hear about your second master's.
Yeah, I'm not sure, okay, which one you're talking about because, okay, originally, okay, Shida would be my first MA program, and then they asked me to get a foreign degree before I was allowed to graduate from Shida.
Yeah, which is insane.
Yeah, so, okay, that's the reason why I went to Leiden and finished 1/3 of a doctoral program and then to pick up something related to poetic language translation. Yeah.
And then, but don't you have a second master's though?
If that counts for the second, I got a third. The third, okay, focuses on Anglo-American literature.
And was that a PhD?
And then after that, a PhD on the same thing. Yeah, but it was planned because I always thought it was a good idea wetting your language skills before you can take literature seriously. I was that serious.
And now you're teaching literature,
Yeah.
I'm glad I didn't become a literature teacher because I'm totally unqualified. And so
don't say that. Don't say that. Okay.
Because we have two great literature teachers here that really have a passion for it.
We used to have a bunch of literature teachers here. Now, okay, now it's just Yvette from the first generation, and then me and Alice and Dealey. Yeah.
And I'm still waiting to teach translation. I'm like year 7. I don't think it's gonna happen.
You can teach a lot more than translation.
Thank you.
So don't worry about
it. Now I've got 2 sports Englishes.
I believe on campus, when people speak of LVS, people think about you.
Yeah.
Yeah. When people think of the Omni-media building, 全媒体大楼, they come up with a funny word for it instead of multimedia. People think about you. You alone.
Oh no.
Can take your students there anytime you want without any problem making use of the facilities over there.
Well, it's pretty limited. I've used the second floor if Li Zhongdao is out there. I've used the second floor to show movies and stuff like that in class. Yeah. But and then the third floor just for the anchor. They set up a nice teleprompter. And then the 4th floor I've used it for like talk shows and stuff. But I don't think I really know how to use it. But I pretend. Yeah. But next, maybe we can go to the 8th floor.
If you can front, if you can fake it, one of these days, you know what they say, you can make it.
Yeah, you fake it till you make it. Yeah. So, trying. We went today and trying to get them to put in little pronunciation help into their scripts. So, trying to make it a little bit more advanced every time.
Okay, one more sentence to wrap up the show.
Yeah.
So, okay. Is there anything else you'd like to say about language studies?
Don't let your friends learn Chinese. What a bad choice. Yeah. But if anyone ever asks about Chinese, I say, don't learn Chinese.
But you can speak ill of people in a white community. What's wrong with that?
Yeah. The thing is it's like they don't really care. It's funny. I go back and I speak Chinese, and they're like, oh, okay, well, I have a boat. So the thing is, you're doing it for the wrong reason if you're trying to make money out of it, because China is saturated, and it's really not a very friendly place for outsiders now. And Taiwan is overdeveloped, but I think it's a nice language if you want to connect with people.
Okay.
Right? So that if you want to have a family here, you want to have good friendships, not having Chinese is going to be a barrier. Yeah. So if you're doing it for money, you're doing it for the wrong reason. But if it's just something that you're curious about and it makes life interesting, go for it.
And it's always a good thing to pick up a new language, like opening a new window in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's how we wrap up the show. Okay.
All right.
I'll see you next week.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you to everybody. We should thank Huang Lao Shi. She's going to be on the podcast sometime soon.
Yes. Okay, sooner or later, okay, we'll be inviting her. And then, okay, also thanks to 中道组长 and his staff.
Yes. 中道跟中道的员工们，感谢你们呢。You guys are the best. Yes. 我可以说辛苦你们了。
可以。
Okay. All right. We did it.
Okay.
Episode 0. Okay. We did it. Did you have anybody listen?